My friends, and happy Friday. I thought it would be cool if I showed you guys how I make chocolate chip cookies. One of my favorite things to make, really easy, and something that I think you guys could probably help mom and dad with at home. So I have everything out on my table that I'm going to need. I have a big bowl that will hold all my ingredients. I have some flour. I have brown sugar. I have butter. There it is. I have baking soda, salt, vanilla. I have 2 eggs and sugar. And then the last couple things I need are just my measuring cups and my measuring spoons. I have all 4 cups and spoons and I'm ready to go. So I'm following a recipe. The recipe is actually on the back of my chocolate chips. So that's the recipe I'm going to use. All right, the first thing it wants is 2 1/4 cup of flour. So to find 2 1/4 cup, I'm going to take my 1 cup measure, which is this big guy right here, 1 cup. And I'm also going to take my 1/4 cup. I need both of those to get 2 1/4 cups. And I'm going to take my 1 cup measure first and dunk it in my flour bag, and that goes into my bowl. Now I do the exact same thing again. I have my 1 cup. I'm going to smooth it out to make sure it's smooth and even. And that's going into my bowl too. So now I added 1 cup and 1 cup. I have 2 cups of flour. I still need 1/4 to equal 2 1/4 cup flour. So I take my 1/4 measure, do the same thing with that I did for the big one. There it is. And then I add that to the bowl. So now all my flour, 2 1/4 cup, is in the bowl. Next, it would like some baking soda, and it wants 1 teaspoon of baking soda. So I'm going to look at all of my measuring spoons and see which one is a teaspoon. Let's see. This big one is a tablespoon. That's not it. How about the next one? 1 teaspoon. Here's my teaspoon. So I'm going to take my teaspoon and my box of baking soda. I'm going to just dip my spoon in there, and there is my teaspoon of baking soda. Next, it would like me to add the salt. So we need 1/2 teaspoon of salt. My 1/2 teaspoon is this one. And here is my salt. So I'm going to pour my salt into my spoon very carefully so I don't get too much because it can pour out pretty quickly. There we go. There is my 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Now I need to mix my wet ingredients. I'm actually going to need another bowl. All right, so here's a bowl I can use to put my wet ingredients. I can put my red bowl to the side for now. I don't need that yet. All right, so now let's see what it wants. Butter, granulated sugar, brown sugar, and vanilla. Got it. All right, so here goes my butter. And my butter was 2 sticks of butter. And I had to melt it in the microwave. And the next thing we need is our granulated sugar. That's a fancy way to just say regular sugar. We're going to need 3/4 of a cup. So to get 3/4 of a cup, we need to use our 1/4 cup measure. We can also use, to speed up some time and practice our fractions, we can also use our 1/2 cup measure, because I know that 1/2 plus 1/4 makes 3/4. 1/2 is equal to 2/4, and then we use our 1/4 to make 3/4 altogether. So now I've got my 1/2 cup sugar. So that's 2/4 in the bowl, and I'll take my 1/4 and add that. So I have 3/4 in my bowl. And there we go. Now the next thing it needs is 3/4 of brown sugar. Here is brown sugar. Now my brown sugar is added. What is next in my instructions? Now I need vanilla. This is my vanilla. And we need a teaspoon of our vanilla. So I remember that my teaspoon is this one. And this is something else I'm gonna be really careful pouring because it comes out of the bottle really fast. So I'm gonna do it over the bowl and pour really slow. There we go, there's my vanilla. And when I'm done with it, I always put the lid on right away so I don't spill. All right, now it would like us to mix those together. I'm going to use a spatula. There we go, that's looking pretty good. I just want to get it nice and smooth so it's all the same in there. It smells really good. All right, now the next thing we need is our eggs. So I have 2 eggs and I'm going to crack them right into the bowl. If you're going to crack the eggs yourself, what you might want to do is get out a little cup or a bowl and crack the egg into a bowl first and then add it to your cookie mixture. And that is just to make sure that you don't get any shells in your cookies. That's really good if you're maybe learning how to crack an egg, you haven't cracked one before, but you'd like to try. And then if you do end up getting shells, you can just go pick them out before you add them to the big bowl. All right. Now we're going to add the flour that's in this bowl. So what I'm going to do is just carefully hold this bowl above this bowl like this. And I'm going to add it in a little bit at a time and then stir. I don't want to add it too quickly because it might be really, really hard to stir if I do that. Oh, did you hear that? That's my oven. Before I started, I preheated my oven to 700, oh my goodness, no, that would burn the house down, to 375 degrees. I'm still giving that a stir. It's getting thicker, you can see. It's getting a lot thicker than it was. I'm gonna add the rest of my flour. Now I'm gonna stir in the rest of my flour. And after this comes my favorite step. I just have to get all my flour mixed in. All right, now, here's the last thing. I got it all stirred. It's looking pretty good. You can see how thick that is now. And so the last thing I need is my chocolate chips. Now this recipe takes 2 cups of chocolate chips. And what's great is I don't have to measure them because this bag is already 2 cups of chocolate chips. So all I have to do is pour the whole thing in. All right, so now I am stirring them all together. Got a little bit on my hand. And making sure that every single cookie is going to have a lot of really yummy chocolate chips inside. All right, I think that looks pretty darn good. So there it is, there's all my chocolate chips stirred in. Now, the last thing I need is a cookie sheet or a baking tray. So this is mine. And I'm going to put cookies on my tray. Now the easiest way that I think to do this is just to get a spoon and to dip your spoon into your bowl. And then you have a good sized cookie and you just go ahead and plop that right down on your tray. The most important rule when you're putting cookies on a tray is to make sure they're far enough apart because they are going to grow. They're going to get bigger when they cook and spread. So I always put them a little bit far apart so I don't end up with one giant rectangular cookie. It would still be delicious, but it would be pretty hard to eat. All right, this is my last cookie going onto this tray. And my first tray is finished. Here it is. So you guys can see I put my cookies nice and far apart. I gave them about 2 inches of space so that when they grow, they won't hit each other. All right, now I put my cookies into the oven. And I need to double check my recipe to see how long they bake. And I'm gonna set a timer for 9 minutes. You guys see that? And hit start. So there it goes. And that's how long I have to wait for cookies. All right, guys, have a wonderful rest of your day.